Hello, family whom I love so much. Welcome to another character trait lesson. We've been talking about self-control, taking care of ourselves, disciplining ourselves so that nobody else has to do it for us. Today, we're going to talk about one of the parts of self-control, and that is using moderation in our life. Moderation means just using a little bit, not having excess, not being too extreme, just a little bit. We need to use moderation in our speaking, in our eating, in our actions, in our dresses, exercising, sleeping, moderation in all of those things, a little bit. Some things are okay in moderation, but they're not good when we use too much. Even if something is good for us, it's important for us to use just a little bit moderation. For example, one time I knew a family that decided that carrots were really important for them to eat, and carrots are important. But this family ate carrots for every single meal and in every form that they could eat them. Do you know what happened? Their skins turned orange. And then they realized that they weren't using moderation, that too much of a good thing is not a good thing, even if it is a good thing. Like, for instance, your Halloween candy. Moderation. It's okay to eat 1 or 2 pieces of your Halloween candy, but not all of it at one time. We're going to play a little game, and some of the games and things that we do in these posts come from a book, and it's Teaching Your Children Values. Your parents will remember the days that we did Joy School. When they were little children, we would have Joy School at home. Some of their friends would come and we would have lessons, and then they would go to their friend's house and have lessons. Well, the people that have written this book are the people that did Joy School. So some of the ideas come from this book. And we're going to play a game now. It's called Too Much. So I'm going to say too much of something, and then I want you just to pause this video and talk about what happens when there's too much of this, okay? Are you ready? Too much exercise. Exercise is good, but what happens when there's too much? Pause the video and talk about it. Okay, too much candy. Too much electronic games. Too much food. Too much television. Too much reading. Too much talking. Have you ever been around anybody that just talk? Why? Talking is a good thing. Talking is a wonderful thing. But what if there's too much of it? Too much sleeping. We have to sleep. What happens when we do it too much? How about too much spending? That's an interesting one. When we are impulsive with our spending, or we spend a lot, is that a good thing? Spending is important. What happens when we do too much of it? Okay, how did that go? I hope you had some good discussions among your family about learning about too much. It's important, young people, that when we delay our gratification, when we control ourselves, when we abstain from things that we must not do, or wait until something to do it, How about, okay, here's an example of waiting. Your mom has made cookies hot out of the oven, and it's just 5 minutes before dinner. You really want one of those cookies, but when you delay your gratification, delay gratifying yourself and eating that cookie until after you've eaten your meal, it's better for you and you will benefit for it, and you will feel better about it in the long run. How about remember to think before you act? Actions have consequences. So what I want you to do now is to make a plan. Make a plan how you're going to avoid extremes. In your journal, make a choice of some things. Make a plan of how much electronic time you're going to spend. How much time are you going to spend on electronics? Make a plan, write it down, and then control yourself. Not your mom, not your dad, not your sister, not your brother. You control yourself of how much time you're going to spend on electronics. Make a plan of how many treats or goodies you're going to eat, and then you control yourself on that. Make a plan of how late you're going to stay up. Too many hours without sleep is not good. Too many hours in sleep is not good. Let's say that again. When we sleep too long, it's not good. When we don't sleep enough, it's not good. We have to have a moderation in all of that. Make a plan of how much time for reading you're going to do. If you like to read and just can hardly control yourself, make a plan and then control yourself. Keep to that plan. Remember, we talked about keeping promises, and keeping promises to ourselves is as important as keeping promises to somebody else. So you promise yourself, write it down. I'm only going to read for 1 hour every day, or I'm only going to play my electronics for a half an hour every day. Make a plan and then keep that promise by controlling yourself. How about anger? Do you have any problems with anger? Make a plan if that's an issue, and control yourself on being angry, and you will have a peace and self-esteem if you're able to do that, if you're able to do any of these things. So that's your assignment. Promise me you'll do it. You're going to choose something, write about it, what you've chosen that you're going to have moderation in, and then you're going to keep that promise to yourself and you're going to do it. And so take your house and write moderation on your house so that you will have that to remember for the rest of your life. Always remember how much I love you, and always remember how wonderful you are, and that's a truth.